I hope you all are fine and studying regularly at home. Children, you must have seen people perform rituals, worshipping or singing bhajans, kirtans or kavalis, or even repeating the name of God in silence. Right? These people sometimes move to tears. These kinds of bhakti and Sufi movements have evolved since the 18th century. We all know that long ago kings ruled the kingdoms. Even before this time, different groups of people worshipped their own gods and goddesses. As people came together through the growth of towns, trade, and empires, new ideas began to develop. The idea that all living things pass through infinite cycles of birth and rebirth, performing good deeds and bad came to be widely accepted. Similarly, the idea that all human beings are not equal at their birth came out during this period. The belief that social privileges came from birth in a noble family or a high caste was the subject of many learned texts. Many people were uncomfortable with such ideas and turned to the teachings of the Buddha or the Jainas, according to which it was possible to overcome social differences and break the cycle of rebirth through personal efforts. Others felt attracted to the idea of a supreme God who could deliver humans from such bondage if approached with devotion or bhakti. This idea was featured in the Bhagavad Gita, grew popularly in the early centuries of the Common Era. Shiva, Vishnu, and Durga as supreme deities came to be worshipped through elaborate rituals. At the same time, gods and goddesses worshipped in different areas came to be identified as Shiva, Vishnu, or Durga. This process witnessed that a lot of local myths and legends became a part of the Puranic stories and the methods of worship which were present in Purans were introduced to the locals. Eventually, the Purans also stated that it was possible for devotees to receive the grace of God irrespective of their caste status. The idea of bhakti became so popular that even Buddhists and Jainas adopted these beliefs. Moreover, the 7th to 9th century saw the emergence of new religious movements led by the Nainars and Alvars. Now you all must be thinking, who are Nainars and Alvars? These are saints devoted to Shiva and saints devoted to Vishnu respectively. These came from all castes, including those considered untouchables, like the Pulyar and the Panars. They were sharply critical of the Buddhists and Jainas and believed strong love of Shiva or Vishnu as the path to salvation. They drew upon the ideals of love and heroism as found in the Sangam literature and blended them with values bhakti. Sangam literature is the earliest example of Tamil literature, which was composed during the early centuries of the Common Era. The Nainars and Alvars went from place to place composing beautiful poems in praise of the deities. In the villages they visited and set them to music. Between the 10th and 12th centuries, the Chola and Pandya kings built elaborate temples around many of the places visited by the saint poets, strengthening the links between the bhakti tradition and temple worship. This was also the time when their poems were also composed. Besides hagiographies or religious biographies of the Alvars and Nainars. were also composed. Now, you all must be thinking, what are hagiographies? These are writing of saints' lives. Today we use these texts as source for writing histories of the Bhakti tradition. Now students, let us understand the story of Shankara. He was one of the most influential philosophers of India. He was born in Kerala in the 8th century. He was an advocate of Advaita, or the doctrine of the oneness of the individual soul, and the supreme God, which is the ultimate reality. He taught that Brahma, the one and only reality, was formless and without any attributes. He believed that world around us is just an illusion or maya, and addressed that abandonment of the world and adoption of the path of knowledge to understand the true nature of Brahma and attain salvation. Furthermore, Ramanuj, born in Tamil Nadu in the 11th century, was deeply influenced by the Alvars. He believed that intense devotion to Vishnu was the best means of attaining salvation. Vishnu, in this grace, helps the devotee to attain the bliss of union with him. He suggested the doctrine of Vishisht Advaita, or qualified oneness, in that the soul, even when united with the Supreme God, remained distinct. Ramanuja's doctrine greatly inspired the new strand of bhakti, which developed in North India subsequently.